Hello, 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 hello. Why are you twinning?
I know. It's
Yeah?
quite a. We just realized that we were twinning and I just came here like exactly 10 minutes back, and it was quite a surprise. So,
Is this part of the leaner supply chain?
no, definitely not. So, yes,
Awesome. All right. Thanks, guys. I hope over the next 10 odd minutes we'll be able to add some value to the discussions that have been going around. Karthik, thanks for joining. Uh, how about everyone knows you as the money man of Group M, right?
not at all.
Yeah. How about a fun fact?
Fun fact. Okay, so I'm a genetic engineer by education. So, and like you said, trying to make money and service our clients really, really well. And I also play a little bit of violin in Carnatic. So that's fun facts about me. What about yours, Silto?
No, let's stick to that, like genetic engineering and playing the violin.
I mean, what are the odds?
Unlikely. How does that help you in what you do?
Actually, one of the key things that I've learned is if you're able to bring in, concepts from various disciplines, it really helps you to create something very, very innovative and unique. So I think that's the way I see it.
Wonderful. Maybe someday we have a session of violin.
Doing that, yeah,
Yeah,
I think maybe we should do that.
All right, let's just get on with what we are here for. So, I'm going to ask you about the evolution of the supply chain that's happened over the last few years,
Sure.
and essentially get a buy-side's perspective on this entire piece.
Sure. I think today marketers have enormous amount of opportunity. I think India as a market has scale leapfrogged multiple other evolved markets in various ways. Like you have, if you really think about going back and seeing right from how investments have flown, how traditional companies have evolved, and behemoths have been created. India has actually seen a very a large scale evolution in terms of both supply as well as demand. Right? If you think about it, you have traditional media companies, which is actually playing a large one. We actually heard about Truecaller with billions and billions of impressions as well as numbers. You think about quick commerce, which is actually coming in and sweeping it in a very, very short period of time. And you also can see the large behemoths controlling at various levels and doing their bit with data tech capabilities, right? So if you have to really put these 3-4 pieces together, you can ideally see there are large players, there are small players disrupting very, very fast. And one of the very unique use cases that I can think of, which I experienced recently, is the community management apps, right? So they actually cater to 1% of the niche, the ultra niche, or the 1% of the population. They understand your behavior, consumer, so on and so forth, and how that becomes a use case for a lot of them too. And everybody has a advertising business. Now, if you look at fintech, they have an ad business. Quickcom obviously is ultimately an ad business. You have large players, clearly 98% of their revenue coming from advertising. So there is the landscape has evolved really, really fast, and I think marketers have enough and more to choose, and which ideally gets them into a dilemma of where to really invest and what the ROI is going to look like, right? So I'll also give you a perspective in terms of from a supply side, right? So if you look at users, right, we have the largest user base. We are the largest app downloaded market. We have the amount of users and the time that they spend on digital is increasing. You have platforms, capabilities that are built to kind of make the maximum ARPU out of a user, right? If I have to really stack rack into the way you want to think about it, the large platforms have the highest level of ARPU per user annually. If you look at the next set of categories, which is really growing in this space, is your commerce-led, which is half of what the large players are doing. And you have the long tail, and you have specialized niches as well as the long tail, which are probably 1/10 of what a large platform would ideally be making. So therefore, it comes to a point where how collaborating and what makes these platforms really successful, right? They have great access to data. They have access to users. They have the frequency of users visiting them and giving their interest to them is very, very high. You have these signals being collected, measured, and optimized to the business outcomes for the clients. And therefore, they are able to really command the kind of control in the both demand as well as the supply ecosystems, right? And therefore, how do we really scale? What are the opportunities are there for the clients? And therefore, how clients want to really look at it is a very interesting piece that we want to look at. But coming back to your supply chain, there is amazing disruption that has happened in the last 3 to 4 years via various players coming in, and we are way evolved than many Western markets, if I have to put it that way.
So from a platform perspective, Karthik, I mean, we look at it a little differently. I heard you talk about scale.
Yeah.
When you mentioned the behemoth, I heard you talk about users and data. I heard you talk about retail commerce, which is
Sure.
some of the new stuff that's coming along, fintech and so on and so forth, right? On the platform side, when we look at the leaner supply chain, we actually, look at it from a very, very different perspective. At the back end, there's a lot of magic that happens in the form of QPS.
Right.
QPS is query per second for the, because we can't be sending you trillions and trillions of impressions.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, that's not going to do anything for the leaner supply chain, right?
Sure.
What we end up doing on the platform side is we are constantly algorithmically optimizing what we look at sending to you. And this is becoming more and more important as there are options like retail media data, which is coming
Absolutely.
into play, right?
Market decisions. Yeah.
Exactly. So that essentially, gets me into thinking, how do we define or how do we drive ROI for the ecosystem? And when I say the ecosystem, it's not just from a buyer perspective,
Yeah.
but also from the seller's perspective, right?
Absolutely.
You spoke about the leaner supply chain. We are seeing a convergence happening in the form of what we call marketplaces, right? Which is essentially a buyer looking at owning the narrative of a single stack, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Thanks, Sudipta. I think that was a great segue into understanding what marketplaces can do. So we established that, large platforms to various tiers of, players in the market are catering to different ways of monetizing their users, and therefore tying it back to the, business objective of various set of clients. In this segment, what happens is the mid to long tail, right, really gets crushed for various reasons, right? And what would that really mean, right? How would they have a, fighting chance to actually go and deliver what they can in their own way, right? The only way that can happen is by collaboration, right? When they collaborate at, creative data, media activation, as well as at a measurement lens, that's where really the magic happens. Like you talked about it, trillions of data coming through these signals, and how does it really land? Marketplaces are a way where, the partners or the supply ecosystem can collaborate itself, where they come in, they're able to share data and insights, they're able to share the media in ad formats, they're able to share the users and the relevance of why an advertiser needs to be present. And therefore, what is the end objective without really, killing the user experience by over ads or by getting the best outcome for the advertiser, right? So a marketplace is a great way for a congregation of, publishers and at various segments to come together and drive this magic for advertiser. And we have seen it time and again, right? Be it in the OTT landscape, be it in connected TVs that we talked about. One of the very interesting things, I don't know if you guys are aware, there are roughly about 15 to 20 ad formats in CTV. right? And the most preferred ones are the top three, right? You would obviously see a bumper or a video ad or anything like that. But there are 15 or 20 different ad units on connected TV. How would you, and there are too many players in this space, how do they come together to create a seamless experience for the advertiser? Obviously, a marketplace is a great place for that, right? Decisioning at the right place at the right time. Similarly, if you move away from CTV and OTT, you have display and the rest of the marketplaces, which caters to various objectives of clients, right? From reach awareness to driving consideration, in fact, even to sale. So that's my point of view on how marketplaces can really aid and support. And we have always been a large supporter of marketplaces for various reasons, right? One, it makes the market equitable. Second, there is always a price discovery that happens. There is enormous amount of value creation that happens for the advertiser, right? Yeah. So that way, I think we kind of balance both supply and the demand with marketplaces across. So thanks for being a partner on that.
Appreciate that. That was good insight. So I know we're out of time, but like just quickly, last couple of minutes on where do you see the top 2 or 3 opportunities as far as the leaner supply chain or marketplaces go in the next couple of years?
See, I think media as an ecosystem is tremendously disrupted by AI because we have the depth of data and the scale of usage, right? And it is disrupting at various levels, right? From creative to media efficiencies, creative effectiveness, and overall opportunities across. Clearly, there are going to be places, right, where the large-scale adoption of these platforms coming together, publishers coming together, ability for them to kind of get it out. And I think there are places where we are seeing green shoots where they are willing to exchange data for value in a privacy-compliant way. And they're also able to exchange value across various attribution setups. So if you really have to think about it, the marketplace is going to evolve for better use cases for both demand as well as supply side. CTV is definitely going to be, going to get disrupted in this way. Ability for, let's say, retail or any kind of data to flow right from surfaces, right from TV to an expedition service to a browser to an app is going to be seamless, right? And then the attribution back into open systems that are able to really validate the value are going to be the future. And I think a lot of steps have been created by various technology partners, especially you're doing a great job in terms of getting that out. So my sense is you will definitely see a lot of convergence. You will see a lot of data, media, and content collaboration coming in to deliver much better value for our advertisers.
So measurability continues to be a bane.
Absolutely, that's the bottom line and the spine of it. So agree with you on that.
Awesome. All right. We're out of time, folks. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you, Karthik. Appreciate you doing this.
Thank you so much, Aditya.
Thank you.